Luke, a curveball for you. I know it's 2 a.m. for you, so why did you decide to do this interview at 2 a.m.?
Oh, that's easy. I work swing shift, so I usually wake up at like 1:30, get to work at 2:30, and I'll work straight till like 11, hit the gym, and then by the time I get home, get showered, get eaten, by the time I'm onto the real world, this is just about the time I start.
Wow. And then
Yeah.
until what time do you spend on doing
I try to get off by 5 so I can get, full night's sleep, but sometimes till 6 or 7.
full morning
Completely
sleep,
flipped
that is?
schedule. Yeah, but I'm about to start working mornings, so I should be able to get on a more regular schedule here soon.
Okay, fair. So now we're getting back on point. The reason I invited you on is because I saw some very interesting wins from you in the copywriting campus and just lifestyle as well. Could you explain them?
Absolutely, yeah. So as far as the financial wins, I am basically running my client's YouTube channel. I started off by creating a free value for him. That was for his website. I made him a little email sign up prompt, created a little graphic in Canva, and he was quite impressed with it. I actually had to sit there and kind of explain to him like, hey, it's not the graphic that's going to be so powerful. It's actually the words. But we emailed back and forth. He had questions, I had answers. He had more questions, I had more answers. I actually started to get frustrated a little bit, but just kept leading with value, just kept, proving myself and my knowledge. And eventually he signed me on retainer to run his YouTube channel. So now I'm doing like thumbnails, titles, community posts for him, and trying to interlink his socials together so that it can ultimately funnel to sales, because his sales process is fundamentally broken. But so I'll get a little $500 to $700 win every month. That's the only client I have right now. As far as just life wins, I had posted something recently. Yeah, I wasted a lot of my 20s, right? So from 18 to 25 was basically drugs, partying, chasing after girls, doing stupid stuff, getting locked up for a little while, and had kind of an epiphany moment in my life, and I kind of overcorrected that, right? So I was kind of this like rough and tumble kid, and I didn't want to be like that guy anymore. And I kind of overcorrected into this softy. And so I became kind of like, yes, man, just trying to please my girl, just trying to be really nice to everybody. Not that it's bad to be nice, but I prioritized everybody else over me. And what I quickly learned is that that's a self-fulfilling prophecy for disaster. It's never going to work out for anybody. And then I found Andrew Tate's message, about owning your masculinity, about getting to work, about, I was hungry for a call to adventure. And I think Tate kind of gave me that. And seeing the way the world kind of is falling apart around us. And I felt that calling to better myself, to adjust myself to the way the world is so that I can come out and prevail, as opposed to being a victim to the system that society kind of has set up for us. So I've got myself in the gym now. I've taken a couple of boxing classes here and there. Once I get my move all set together, I'm going down to a different state here in like a week. Looking to join a boxing gym, and just overall improving my mindset to one of focus, drive, determination, and shameless masculinity.
All right. Okay, so a few things to say there. Sure. I'd say I was in a similar boat, but maybe on the opposite end. Since I grew up in a single mother household, I had more feminine traits, let's call it that, when I was growing up. So It was on that side of the extreme. Then when I went to university, I tried going to the other side of the extreme. And then only after you experience both can you settle somewhere in the middle. And especially for me as well, Tate helped with that settling in the middle. Similar experience, just in different perspective. And now, how different has the material been in the real world compared to what you can find out on the internet?
Oh man, it's been different because, first of all, it's so direct, right? So you get like with the real world, specifically with the copywriting campus, it is the absolute distillation of everything that you need to know to start making money right now. You know what I mean? And then as far as other stuff that you can find online, like you have a couple options, right? You can sit there and scroll the internet and scroll social media and try to piece bits and pieces together in a way that makes some semblance of sense, right? But with the real world, or here's your other option, is to go take another copywriting course from somebody else. But with the real world, what's great is that it's not just copywriting. You got the Amazon FBA, you have drop shipping, you have crypto, you have stocks, you have all these different things that you can learn all underneath the same umbrella. And what really sticks out to me above all the other programs is that in the real world, there's a hierarchy that you could actually actively move up, as opposed to the other courses where you're just kind of taking it baseline along with everybody else and you got the one guy teaching it. The students are actually integrated and a part of the program. So there's actual opportunities to become a part of it. You know what I mean?
Do you mean with apprentices or?
Yeah, or just like moving from the beginner chat into the experienced chat in the copywriting campus, and then moving up into apprenticeship, or being like a platoon leader, or what have you. There's different positions that you can assume if you prove yourself.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And has the community had any kind of impact on you?
Absolutely. The community is great. It's just all you see all day long is, I'm looking at it right now. All you see all day long is a bunch of guys who are committed to bettering themselves and who are committed to breaking the code that the world tries to impose on them. It's just empowering.
Mm-hmm. Give a bit of a deeper insight into what you just said in terms of breaking the. Did you say it breaks into code that the world is trying to impose on them?
Yeah.
Did I quote that right?
Yeah.
Just a little bit more into that.
Sure. It's all Tate's message. You know what I mean? They'll sit here and they'll try to get you to ignore your own eyes. They'll sit here and tell you this is true, this is true, this is true. And they'll purport it everywhere. And they'll tell you it over and over again, even though you don't physically see it. And then people end up falling into it. Not to mention that the system is designed to keep people employees, right? Because we have to have an economy that works. If everybody's out here making thousands of dollars a month from writing emails, then that wouldn't work. We need people to make food. We need people to build things. We need people, to run those bottom line positions. I mean, I would know. I drive a forklift, So what's crazy about the real world is that it exposes you to this opportunity that only exists at this period of time, and it tells you exactly how you can exploit it into just building personal wealth in a way that would take years and years and years if you subscribe to the traditional path.
Right. Okay, so in your case, you joined the real world, you see an alternate way of making money, you acquired your first client. How did you actually get that first client?
Sent the free value at first, right? So I was reaching out to maybe 100 people a week. He replied and he was interested in the free value that I wanted to send him. And I basically made him a little lead magnet, email sign up prompt for his website. He quite liked the graphic, and I didn't think I was actually going to be able to land him. I thought he was just going to sit there and try to milk me for answers, but I stayed faithful and just tried to lead with value, answered all the questions that he had, got more insights into his business. And eventually he was like, hey, look, let's get on a call and see what we can do. And then once we finally got on the call, originally I had made him a sales page. I wrote him a whole sales page, and it didn't make any sales. And at that time, after talking to him for maybe an hour on the sales call and here and there in emails, I didn't have a full understanding of kind of how he had his online business set up. And I realize now that he has just like mountains and mountains and mountains of content that has never really funneled to a sale. And none of his presence was linked together in any kind of organized way. He really wanted to sell courses, but he never really focused on a niche. So long story short is I didn't realize how scattered and broken his brand and his funnel was as a whole. So I figured the best way that I could help him immediately, and the best way that would be most beneficial for me, would be to take over his YouTube page, because I had experience with that in the past. Now I'm currently guiding him through basically a full-on rebrand, where I've finally convinced him that niching down and building one audience under a single umbrella, and the importance of funneling that audience into the paid content that he has to offer, is the way to go. So I think I've been able to offer him a lot of direction.
Very nice.
So, and that's another reason why you were talking about my wins being smaller compared to how much time I've put in, because he's been a client that's taken an awful lot of time, and an awful lot of time of doing actual work, as well as just kind of trying to understand the intricacies and complexities of his business. But with the direction that we're heading now, I have faith that we can grow his channel to a point where he's getting 2 or 3 or 4 times the amount of views that he's getting now, which is going to translate into the same multiplication of income.
So yeah, it's not linear. You need to put in a load of work beforehand, and only then it becomes exponential.
Yeah, so, exactly.
That's something I've seen people who work 9 to 5, they don't really see it that way. They just see things more linearly.
Yeah, you can't think of it in terms of like, I'm doing this much work for this much money, because it's a lot of upfront work, and you have to be willing to put that work in, and success isn't guaranteed. I mean, you have all the tools right here, but that doesn't mean it's guaranteed. It's still on your shoulders. You know what I mean? You have to be willing to dedicate that time and understand that it's all on you.
What would you say was the biggest challenge you faced then when you first started out with copywriting?
Biggest challenge that I faced is understanding how to properly break the rules, because you have like 150,000 students in here, and they're all learning the same thing. Let's use outreach for an example. And they give you this series of templates. And even though you kind of customize the template, you put your own words in, you put your own variables in, if you laid out 10 people's outreaches next to each other, they would all still read relatively the same, right? And so the biggest challenge is learning how to take the material and customize it and make it your own in a way that it doesn't seem like you learned it from the same course as everybody else, I guess, if that makes sense.
For people who are saying it's overly saturated, that area, whether it is copywriting, e-com, anything, if you're competent in that skill, you will get clients, you will get an income, a good income from it. So it's just about putting the time in to actually learn it and trying to get that first client, getting the testimonial, and then again, it's all exponential after that. Now, for all the value that is in the real world, why do you think they only charge $50 per month for it?
First of all, it's not like it's not profitable, right? Second of all, it's not like Tate didn't already have all the money in the world to begin with. And I think that as the leader of the organization, his mission is a lot more than just making more money for himself, right? I think that Tate has a genuine interest in creating a massive positive wave through the male community, especially the young male community. And I think he sees, well, a lot of the things that we talk about, right? How woke left getting crazy, society being organized to keep everybody at the bottom. I think that the only reason that he charges in the first place, to be quite frank with you, is to make it so that only the committed people get access to it. Because anybody can afford $50. You can go mow your neighbor's lawn right now and get $50 for it, and potentially be making money within a week in excess of that,
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, keep out the trolls, pretty much. And
yeah, keep out the trolls, exactly.
Okay. Now, did the Wins channel have any effect on you?
The Wins channel intimidated me at first, but it was the anchor to reality that I needed. Because you can see, like, if you see screenshots of wins on social media, there's still that element of doubt. But when you finally realize, like, hey, you know what? Even if it's not real, I'll only be out $50. And then you get into the program and you see real people, pages upon pages upon pages of people who didn't know jack shit months prior, sitting here replacing their 9-to-5 income with work that they can do from home in half the time. It's inspiring. And all I wanted, and it wasn't even so much the Wins channel. All I wanted was to get on that channel so that I could, first of all, check that box off, right? And also, I wanted my name in green, like all the other experienced copywriters. And so then I think, just to take a side tangent there, is well, it goes back to the hierarchy thing, right? It's not just seeing people win. It's seeing that people are winning in first of all, the same program that you're taking. And second of all, knowing that if you get on that page, you are physically moving up the hierarchy that has been constructed, which is great. It's just like real life. Yeah. The real world.
Right. So as you're speaking about moving up the hierarchy, are there any more clients you can speak about in terms of potential opportunities for future?
For me?
Yeah.
I just reached out to my family chiropractor. I've changed my whole outreach strategy, right? And this is going to tie back into what I said about knowing how to properly break the rules. Is that they'll teach you something and then it'll get played out because everybody uses it and they don't change it at all. So it's like, use compliments. Oh, everybody's using compliments and nobody's using them right. So now it's just dead. You got to change your outreach strategy. So for me, figuring out how to take what I've learned here and make it different enough and unique enough to be effective has personally been a challenge for me. So my strategy now is to reach out to successful business owners that I already know. So I've been seeing my family chiropractor ever since I can remember. My dad saw him since I have memories. Last time I saw him, I let him know that I had joined a copywriting program and that I had started up my own business. And immediately he was super excited for me. He actually invited me to be in his, I forget what the group is called, but a bunch of like businessmen in different fields that get together like once a month and they discuss different business activities and just like a network, The meeting time didn't work for me because my schedule is completely reversed from his. But what I decided to do is take one of the challenges that Professor Andrew gave the copywriting community and twist it. So what I basically am doing for him is I went and did a full audience breakdown. This is all in a Google Doc, like 20 pages long. I did a full audience breakdown. I did a full competitor analysis for all of his local competitors and for all of his competitors in Google search, because he does rank, but I think he could rank a little bit higher. And then I laid out a full action plan for him to gain more exposure online to increase his brand awareness and his brand authority. I did a rewrite for him of his landing page. And then I also, to help with his SEO and ranking in Google, I wrote him a whole blog post. And I also noticed that he was on Facebook actively, but not on Instagram. And so I made an Instagram post for him saying like, hey, I think you're going to be able to leverage your audience over here a little bit better. Plus the integration with Facebook, you can grow your Facebook at the same time that you're growing your Instagram. So I laid out this whole 20-page document for him. And I emailed him just casually like, hey, I took an assignment upon myself of sorts with your company as a focus. I think that you could see massive value out of this document that I have for you. And I just kind of want you to have it. Then I told him I'd follow up with him in a few days. So I'll probably email him day after tomorrow and see how that goes, see what he likes.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
So an additional benefit to learning skills such as copywriting and just outside of the normal 9-to-5 skills is you can get access to, as you were saying, potential networks such as the business network you were talking about. In your case, maybe you weren't able to sync up your time, so you weren't able to look at what that was about. But the opportunity was there, and who knows where that could have led as well, having access to all those people.
Right, and even if that formal offer wasn't there, the more clients you get, you're building your network just by having clients, right? So if you end up with a client that does stocks, for example, and you're writing his Instagram or his website or whatever, you have somebody that you can contact back and kind of bounce ideas off of each other. So it just like that network kind of happens organically as you get more clients.
Now, what have been the 3 biggest lessons you've learned from your time in the real world?
Oh, 3 biggest lessons. Okay. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that helping other people learn helps you learn. Right. So with the review channel, for example, I don't stay in the chats very much because I try to actually stay, doing something that's going to move me forward. And I don't. Anyways, the chat that I stay the most active in is the copy review channel for a couple reasons. One, I want to give back to the community that I value being in so much. And 2 is that when you're reviewing somebody else's copy, you get a third person point of view, right? So you're able to notice things that you might not be able to notice in your own copy. And so you're giving a benefit to them because they're seeing things that they don't see, but it's also helping you learn at the same time. So one of the biggest lessons for me is that helping others is in turn going to help you, which ties back into the community aspect. The second lesson I would say I probably already touched on a little bit is that personalization is key and differentiation is key. Thinking that you can come into a course and copy and paste everything to victory is just absurd. Like you have to actually put in your brain calories and you actually have to work and you actually have to try to understand it and build your skill set, because that's what it is. It's not like some get rich quick scheme or whatever. It's legitimately a university where you build a skill set that can help you make money. And then the third lesson, I would say the third lesson is for me personally, that competition is more important than people give it credit for. And that ties back into what we were talking about with the wins channel. When you see everybody else winning, if it doesn't light something in you, you got to take a look at yourself, because it lit something within me. And that gave me kind of like a fire under me that I had never had before. Because the people that I hung around with for the majority of my life, even once I kind of woke up and gained this renewed sense of self-awareness, they weren't on that same mission that I wanted to get on. And so it's this weird combination of community and competition that creates this just unexplainable force, I suppose. So lesson 3 is definitely that I needed competition in my life.
Right. I mean, we say unexplainable force, but back in the day, as let's say, just as warriors, as soldiers, you'd have that competition between each other, that drive to improve everything. It's just that, it's been diminished now. Yeah.
Okay, and you feel that even here, just online. Sorry to interrupt you, but like I said, my friends in real life, they're not on the same purpose. And when I get home from work and I log on to the real world, it's like I feel like, it sounds corny, but it's like I feel like I'm home. It's like I feel like where I'm supposed to be, and I'm surrounded by the type of people that I want to be surrounded with.
Exactly. It's not, the real world is obviously not for people who, if they join, they think, I'll just maybe spend a bit of time on it here and there. Like you actually need to commit proper time to it.
100%.
It's like an actual university, just online. So now, since you're on this trajectory, where do you see your life heading in 6 months to 1 year?
Well, the goal is to break 6 figures within a year, right? And that's going to involve getting at least one other client, as well as helping my current client. Well, it'll probably involve getting 2 clients, 2 more clients, helping my current client getting to that 6-figure mark. And in my personal life, I'm looking to buy a house here in a couple months. So just kind of like, it's one of those landmark things that I'm excited to finally get to at 30 years old, you know?
I did not think you were 30. You look a lot younger.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Right. And I guess a bit of a side question. You've mentioned this already a bit. I'm wondering, is there more you could go into? What kind of an impact Tate has had on you?
Oh, Tate has given me, I have a journal, and it's not like a diary, right? It's like my profound thought journal, and I'll just write like one sentence per page on like a profound thought that might occur to me that I want to remember. And I was looking back on it, and one of the pages said, "I hunger for a great calling." And I didn't know, I hungered for a call to adventure, right? Like I felt like I was just living this directionless, not sad, but like
mundane,
purposeless existence. Sorry, go ahead. Mundane. Yeah, exactly. And I didn't know, I've never had like a specific hobby or like a specific passion or anything that I wanted to get into. And Tate comes along and kind of articulates a lot of thoughts that I had already been, not that I had already been thinking. He made me realize stuff that I already know, right? And in that way, he has given me a more concrete understanding of the world. And not only that, but he has personally organized the tools and the solutions to the situation in the world that we're in now. And so Tate has given me, I've sent him emails, I don't know if he's read any of them, but like Tate's had a very profound impact. I get made fun of at work and shit. Like I live in a liberal state, and I'm shameless about the fact that I follow Tate and his message, because I think he's absolutely right about everything. Like maybe he's purposely antagonistic. So, like it doesn't mean that it's not true. Like I can't think of a single false thing that he said if you truly look to your inner core and cut out all the bullshit and don't try to justify it with oh, what about this 1% situation? Like look at the world, and like I think that people fundamentally, and I was here at one point too, they think that they fundamentally have a misunderstanding of the way the world works, and they really just want it to be a whole lot nicer. It's not, and it never will be. It never will be. And trying to make yourself softer and cater to this whole feelings thing, it's only going to take you farther and farther away from the objective truth, which a lot of times hurts, right? That saying, the truth hurts, has been around for fuck knows how long, forever. And it's because it's true. And I think people are losing their ability to cope with it. And so instead they go off on this delusional tangent. And Tate has kind of, this reminds me of one podcast that he did where he brought Tekashi 69 and some internet gambler that streams on Twitch. And I was watching the stream, and Tate was so articulate, and these guys were like clowns. And I was like, why did he choose to go on this podcast? And the next day he sent an email, and it was about contrast. And he said, like, I have just put myself next to two of the most famous people in the world, and there's a clear contrast between me and them. Like, this is the programming that they want for you. This is what's actually going to help you be happy and successful and achieve and proud of yourself in your life. And it was so profound to me. And just a badass moment for Tate. Tate W, as usual.
Right. I remember watching that interview live. So yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Good. Okay, and now before we end off, for people who are on the fence about joining, not sure whether it's a scam, maybe, right? For $50, for all the value that people are saying that they're getting out of it, hey, maybe it's still a scam. But what advice would you have to them?
I want to mimic Tate here and to say, like, if you, it's the arrogance, right? You've got, he says, you will sit there and spend $100,000 going to university to learn business from somebody who doesn't own a business and doesn't have any money. But when he comes along and says that I'll teach you how to, I'm a millionaire. I'll teach you how to make money online for $50 a month. People have the audacity to write it off as a scam. And for me, you never know, right? Like, you just hear about this Tate guy. He blows up out of nowhere. Who is he? I'm not sure. Only $50 a month. It seems too good to be true. Look, man, if you're not willing to risk $50, stay broke. You know, it's worth it. Like, I'll sit here and tell you that it's worth it. I don't even have the biggest wins out of most of the people in the copywriting campus. A lot of people are sitting here after a month making wins twice as big as mine. You know? So, look, at some point in your life, you have to make a decision. Are you going to keep on the trajectory that you're on? Or are you going to make something of yourself?
Well, Luke, thank you very much for your time again.
Thank you, sir.
I'm up to 3 a.m. and you're still very articulate, very well spoken. Yeah,
thanks.
happy with how this went. So really appreciate you. For people who want to find out more about you or contact you, where can they do so?
Sure. My Instagram is @shockcopy, SHOCKCOPY. And then my professional copywriting website is shockcopy.com.
Good. I'll add those to the description of the video.
Perfect. Thank you.
Let me know once you have some more wins to share, and I'll get you on for a follow-up interview.
Hey, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All the best to you until next time. Goodbye.
Yep. You too.